Now, the general rule is you don't name anything after anyone until they're dead, which makes me kind of nervous since there's a Springer Avenue in Hyde Park. Must be another Springer. There is, of course, two reasons for this. First, as long as the guy's still living, he can turn bad, so you don't want to commit yourself too early. How would you like your kid to be valedictorian of Spire Agnew High School? And second, by making death a prerequisite, powerful politicians will be stopped from legislating their own names into immortality while they still have the clout to do so. That's why, for example, we're not living in Lucan, Ohio. So the rule is requiring death before you get a street named after you makes sense, but not in the case of Pete. After all, he's not a politician, and once the record is his, it's likely to last longer than the street anyway. So it's a safe bet to go ahead and name it Pete Rose Way. If there is an objection, it has nothing to do with the fact that he's still very much alive. Nor is it based on any doubt about his deserving the recognition. Instead, it's the wonder of why anyone would want to be the name of a street. I mean, other than at the dedication, when does one ever think kindly of an asphalt roadway? The only time we ever hear about it is in a traffic report about a tie-up or an accident, or when someone's screaming about those ever-expanding potholes. Now, a street sign is hardly an honor. A ballpark, a gym, a public school specializing in athletics. Now that's Pete, an item worthy of his name. It's not a street unless, of course, the crosswalk signs are changed from walk and stop to run and slide. We could do better than Pete Rose Way. Now, if you're still unconvinced and would like to have a street named after you, well, you'll have to go the regular route. Do something great, die, and hope for the best. Either that or just change your name to Maine. I was watching along with what seemed like the rest of humanity, the greatest hit of all time, cheering madly like everyone else, and then suddenly he cried. Standing there alone at first base on top of the world by way of his 401st 90-second hit, Pete cried and hugged his son, and suddenly it all made sense. The mass hysteria and pandemonium that is surrounded this quest of Cobb had nothing to do with baseball. It was simply life, the victory of the human spirit. It's tempting at moments like this to overstate the case. This isn't the greatest thing that ever happened. It won't affect history. There are people who face far more serious struggles every day, and must look at this as nothing more than a great athletic achievement. But when I saw macho tough Pete standing there alone in the midst of 5 uninterrupted minutes of adulation, suddenly reduced to tears, it came to me. We were bearing witness to a circumstance of which there's no parallels, at least none I can think of. We were watching an ordinary human being, after a lifetime of uncompromising dedication, finally achieve the ultimate height of his calling, and he did it with the whole world watching, there to say, well done. The record will last forever, as will our remembrances of the moment. Look, we will never do what he did. No one ever has. And we suddenly all realize that. That's why we cheered, why he cried, and for one brief shining moment, why we all felt the glory of when the human spirit prevails.